Last night on MasterChef Australia.
You will only have 10 minutes to grab your ingredients and to plate up a dish.
The red team faced a grueling sudden death cook-off, and for Seamus, the MasterChef dream ended.
I really do have a passion for food and I really want to take this further and do something with it.
Tonight, the pressure's off for this week's Masterclass. On the menu,
pan's nice and hot.
George makes a beautiful rabbit dish.
Just pour the consommé on.
So rock salt in the tray.
What better way to learn how to cook potatoes than with an award-winning Irish chef?
Out of a simple potato dish, you've created a rockstar dish.
Good amount of oil.
Then Gary revamps a classic, the humble shepherd's pie.
Delicious.
And pastry chef Leanne Beck breathes new life into an old favourite.
The whole idea of Truffle is it's big, it's beautiful, you take it to a house, it's that wow.
It's my favourite time of the week. It's Masterclass time, and I'm really looking forward to what George and Gary are going to teach us today.
Great thing about Masterclass is you get to pick up little tips from George and Gary and maybe another professional chefs. So it gives you a little bit of edge next time you have to cook.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to the MasterChef Kitchen, and welcome to this week's Masterclass. This is the day you don't have to do anything, no pressure. Just relax. Does it feel good?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, not under the pump, not expected to come up with new dishes. You get to just write notes in that little book of yours.
Right, now on to this week's private masterclass. We're going to send two of you out to the beautiful countryside to spend a day with an amazing chef. He joined us this week for the Immunity Challenge. He's the Irishman, Chef Colin Fusnich from Four in Hand. And the lucky two contestants that will be going out to the countryside are Danny for producing the dish of the day at the Mean Fiddler Challenge.
It's what you want to eat at a pub. One me.
And of course, Michael, you produced one of the best dishes in the Rapid Fire Elimination Challenge.
Ooh, look at that.
Perfect dish, Michael. Well done.
Danny, Michael, hope you got your gum boots. Off you go.
See you guys.
See you later, guys.
Thanks, Chef.
Have fun.
I watched Colin cook during the Immunity Challenge and he was so impressive. It's just so exciting that he's actually going to be teaching Michael and I today.
Earlier this week, you guys had an Uber mystery box, which was a doozy. You guys had to cook with everything in the box. So that meant the rabbit, the mustard fruits, the olives, and an array of other ingredients. On the back of that mystery box challenge, I thought, hey, you know what? I'll put the chef's jacket on and give it a go myself. So the dish I'm making today is Canon rabbit with garlic custard and rabbit consommé. So there's going to be some important cooking techniques to note. I'm going to teach you guys how to break down a rabbit correctly, and of course, I'm going to teach you guys how to roll the rabbit. There was a lot of you that struggled breaking down the rabbit. Ali, I'm not picking you out because you did a really bad job, but I think it'll be great. Come and stand next to me and watch me break this rabbit down. I think the first thing we need to do is understand how this beast works. It's got two back legs, two front legs. The front legs are a lot more leaner and a lot more tougher. But in saying that, they've got lots of flavour in them, so we will use them in the dish. The first thing to do is to remove the kidneys, and we're just going to slowly tease them off, really, really gently. Remove them from their pouch, pull them off, and then just pinch them, and you're going to remove this membrane, okay? That's got to come off, because when you go to fry them, they'll explode out of that membrane. Do you want to do one, Ali?
Yeah, sure.
Give it a little pinch.
Yeah.
That's it. See, it's come out?
Yeah, it comes out easy.
And just pull that off. Okay, fantastic. We've also got some livers in there, which are absolutely delicious. And we just tease them out, and there you have it. With our livers, I just like to pull them apart. So with a knife, and we're just gonna saute these really quickly right at the last minute, okay? Okay, the next step is to remove the back legs. So I basically turn it laying down, and we just, you'll hear it. And then we're just gonna tease that gently, all right, with our knife. So slowly just tease the back leg off, all right? And then I'll take the other leg off, and then I'll give that to Gary, and Gary will remove all the meat to make a quick rabbit stock. Now, the next step is to remove the back straps and the fillets. So I feel for the last rib, and I can feel that there. Put your finger in there, give it a touch. Yeah?
Yeah.
Feel the last rib. I hold that last rib. I grab my boning knife. It goes in and it goes up. Okay? Turn it around again. Goes in and it goes up. And then again, lift it up, crack. Okay? And then I insert my knife in. And there you have it. The next step is to remove the fillets. So on one side of it's the saddles, on one side of it's the fillets. And we just simply run our knife down to the bone, and you can feel the bone. No, I'm not pushing on the knife. I'm just letting the weight of the knife do all the work. And then we just slowly tease that off. So there you have it, our little eye fillet. Ali, over to you. Just tease it gently. Fantastic, Ali. There you go, little rabbit eye fillet. The next step is to remove the back straps. So we turn it over. Really important, I tease that open, and then slowly just blade the knife down the bone. And there you have it, there's the back strap. Now we're gonna actually prepare this so it's a Frenched rack of rabbit. So a good scrape, and that will help you remove the meat off the bone. And then I get them out, first go, just pop them out. Right, I'm gonna let you do the other side of the rack, Ali.
All right.
So you just need to pop the top of the ribs out. If you're finding it really hard to hold on, grab a cloth and use your cloth to get some grip on it. A clean cloth, of course. Well done, Ali.
Doing a good job, huh?
Well done. Yeah.
Cloth helps because it's really slippery.
Does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Right. Now, look, where you are there is just literally just hold it and remove it off with your knife. Great. Hey.
Unreal. Well done.
So at that point, we've got this little rabbit rack that's all been Frenched. To split that in half, we grab some scissors and just remove them. There you go. You've got 2 racks of rabbit. Ali, top job. High five.
Thanks,
well
Gary.
done. Right, guys, so we've broken down the rabbit. The next step is to use all the bones and the trimmings to make a quick rabbit stock. So, pan, a little bit of oil, some of these bones that we've just chopped up quite small, a little bit of salt. We had some leek in the box, correct? So about a half a leek. 1 clove of garlic that I've thinly sliced. Some white peppercorns. And about 3 sprigs of thyme.
So there's some really delicate flavours in there.
And you can smell that already.
Yeah, it smells gorgeous. Smells really nice.
White wine, about, 200 mils of white wine. So we've reduced down the white wine. Now it's time to add some water. And I'm just adding enough water, not to totally cover these rabbit bone, but just so you can still see the tops of them, and that's just going to help us get lots of flavour into that amount of liquid. Put that on a low heat and let that come to the boil and get some nice flavour. You had Swedes and carrots in your box, and one thing you could do with them is turn them. You have done them in the past, but we're going to show you how to perfect them. The idea is that you're basically putting sides around the vegetable, so it ends up looking like a little football.
What you've got to do is you go in at the tip and you turn it around. And you just go from the tip all the way around. And you can shave off like the tiniest amount and just keep turning it around until you get a beautiful little vegetable. And then obviously the same thing for the Swedes.
Because we've turned these vegetables the same size, we can cook them together. So we're just going to pop the Swedes into the pot, the carrots as well that we've turned. We're going to put a little splash of water, just enough to cover the base of the pot. Some butter to add some flavour, some thyme sprigs, all right, and some salt. Now, lid goes on. Just pop this onto the stove, turn the gas on, just on low, and these will take about 10 minutes to cook. Gary, they had mustard fruits and olives in the box. It's two difficult ingredients, but I think if you add the two together in a savoury dish, you've got sweet and salty, it can actually complement this rabbit dish. So I thought we'd make a paste out of the pears and the green olives.
Good idea. Well, these mostarda fruit, or mustard fruits, are just a preserved glacé fruit. They're an Italian glacé fruit, but essentially they've been candied, so saturated with sugar. So we'll just dice these up. Just pretty rough. All right. A lot of you had difficulty trying to incorporate this into your dish. Next bit, green olives. Some pips are easy to get out of olives, others aren't. These green ones are quite difficult. Olive flesh into the blender. Let's pop the lid on, and we'll just give that a bit of a blend until we get a nice paste. That's good. Might even have a little taste of that. Wow, that whole sweet and salty thing is absolutely brilliant.
The dish I'm making today is Canon rabbit with garlic custard and rabbit consommé. There's lots happening. The vegetables are turned and cooking in the pot. The consommé's on. We're clarifying that. We've broken down our rabbit. The next step is to roll the loin up into a roulade. Now, what I've got here is some foil. Now, I've just laid that down, and I've got a little bit of butter, and I'm just greasing the foil so the actual rabbit doesn't stick. Now, I've got some of the pancetta, which again was in your box, and we lay the pancetta down with care. So it's thinking about, number one, making sure that it encloses the rabbit evenly and equally, but number two, also presentation. Now, next step is we're going to brush a thin film of this mustard and olive puree on the pancetta. And we're only going to do that 3/4 up the pancetta, enough for it to coat the rabbit. Okay, so we've got our rabbit back straps. We lay one down. Ali's one down, okay? And then our fillets. Now, rather than putting the fillets on the outside, I like to put them in the inside because they're small and they need to be protected. Next step is to roll the loin up. Okay, so gently.
Looks beautiful, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Looks really good.
And then we're just going to roll this up nice and tight in the foil so we get a lovely shape. And then, like a bonbon, nice and tight. The reason why you've got to wrap this nice and tight is so when you cook it, it sets that shape. So we've rolled up the rabbit into a roulade. We're going to pop it into an oven, 180 degrees for about 10 minutes. Now, our rabbit's been in the oven. We're going to allow it to rest for approximately half the time that it's been cooking for, so about 5 minutes. I've checked on the rabbit stock. We've clarified it, which basically makes it crystal clear. Now it's time to bring this dish together. Our rabbit's resting, our consommé's made, our vegetables are cooked, and we've also made a garlic custard. I've basically flavoured milk with garlic and leeks. In essence, it's a flavoured milk set with eggs. So it's time now just to fry off our kidneys, livers and rack, and we're ready to plate up. So Pan hot, a little bit of oil, and we just season the rabbit with a bit of pepper and salt. Pan's nice and hot. Just gonna sear that really gently. Our livers are going in, and then our kidneys. Now, be really careful when you're cooking livers and kidneys. They tend to spit back at you. And of course, they don't take long to cook. The next step is a little bit of butter and some thyme. And that's just gonna add lovely flavour.
So I'm just unwrapping this loin. And you can see how important it is to roll it nice and tightly in that foil so that it keeps that beautiful shape.
And we're just gonna roll it in that fat, not too much, just so it gets a nice bit of flavour. All right, now it's time to carve our rabbit and present. This is the best bit, I think, isn't it?
You know why? You get a little chef treat.
And it's up to you how you want to cut it and present it.
Another chef's treat.
Another chef's treat.
Craig, come here. Shh, don't tell anyone. That's beautiful. That's really nicely cooked. It's just opaque in the centre, and she's gorgeous.
Okay, the next step is to put our garlic custard on the plate. Little liver, maybe a rack, little kidney.
Looks beautiful, doesn't it?
And then these vegetables scattered on. And just pour the consommé on right at the last minute. That's what I would have done with that mystery box where you had to use every single ingredient. Right, guys, time for tasting. Ali, Rachel, Peter, step on up.
Just beautiful. The rabbit is cooked perfectly. It's so beautiful.
It's quite delicate. I thought it would be much more gamey.
But it's still very meaty.
I think sometimes
flavour.
people eat rabbit thinking it's going to be gamey, but it's not gamey. It isn't.
It's a great way to use the olives and the mustard fruits.
I really like the balance of all the flavours in the dish. I love the texture of the custard, and it works really well with the vegetables.
Can we try the rack too?
Yeah, Peter, take a bone to chew on.
Okay.
I'll just take the whole
Take the
Can I
whole
take the whole
lot,
thing
mate.
with
It's
me?
all yours.
the whole
Share it
lot.
around.
Yeah.
Okay.
Glad you enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Right, guys, my 3 top tips for my rabbit dish is number 1, when you're breaking down something like a rabbit, understand the anatomy. Slowly feel your way through breaking all of the cuts down. Number 2, understand what the sweet cuts are, the tender cuts, and the tough cuts. Now, my 3rd top tip is cooking vegetables. There is nothing wrong with cooking vegetables in a little bit of water, a little knob of butter, some thyme and some salt, really gently so they absorb all that flavour. Don't be bamboozled by using lots of ingredients in one dish. It's all about restraint, balance and harmony, and then you'll be able to bring together a beautiful dish.
Private masterclasses are such a treat because you get one-on-one time with an amazing chef, and not everyone in the competition gets that opportunity. It's cool. So nice down there.
Hi. Good to see you again. I'm Colin Fastenich, head chef of the 4-in-hand dining room. My food's not just about cooking, it's about using seasonal, fresh produce. We grow a lot of our own herbs and vegetables. It's economical, it's fresher, and it's good for our chefs to see where the produce comes from. Welcome here to Swallow Rock Organic Farm in this beautiful Hawkesbury region. This place has got a long, long history. The first Europeans, this was the first food bowl for the first settlers here in Australia.
Wow.
Today we're getting back to basics. We're going to use the largest non-grain food crop in the world.
Learning about potatoes from an Irishman may sort of give me a little bit of advantage in the competition.
That's right, the humble potato, believe it or not, from South America, where they were first cultivated in the Andes Mountains. So not Irish, unbelievably.
Rightio.
Okay, so today I've got 3 different dishes that use 3 different types of potatoes and 3 different cooking methods. We'll be cooking a rich, creamy Irish called Canon, a classic French boulanger, And finishing off with an all-time favourite, nice crisp Rösti. OK, guys, so before we start cooking, it's really important we understand the ingredients we're dealing with here today. So let's head on down to the paddock and have a look.
Right.
OK, guys, this is Matt. Matt owns the farm here. He knows a lot about potatoes.
Here we've got our 2-hectare paddock of spuds. She's nearly ready for harvest. Because they're certified organic, we don't spray for the weeds, we just slash them and then start digging. Down here, I'll show you some royal blue. These are a beautiful potato. They're blue-skinned. They're a golden, creamy, waxy flesh inside. Really good roast potato, really creamy mash. There's more vitamin C in a potato than in an orange.
Really?
Yeah, so you can always go snack on a potato instead of your orange.
So is the vitamins just under the skin? Is it like it's good to eat the skin as well? As
Absolutely. All your nutrients, or the good part of the potato, is just under the skin.
Yeah.
So these spuds here, these are Otway Red.
Oh, wow.
Now, these are a beautiful red skin potato. They're a starchy potato inside, as opposed to our waxy potatoes.
So they'd be great for a Rösti.
Yeah, good. They're a good all-purpose potato. When they're very small, they're a beautiful potato just to boil whole and serve whole, I reckon.
Wow, I've never seen a red potato like this colour. It's amazing.
Righto, guys, these ones here, these are still new potatoes. You can see the plant's still got a bit of green on it. It hasn't totally died off. These are Kennybeck, so they're starting to get a little bit too big now. But the skins are still beautiful and fresh, and you can just rub them clearly like that. They just peel straight off. The Kennybeck are a really good chipping potato because they grow large. You can see how they can make a nice chip. They're a long, fat potato. They're a starchy potato, not a waxy potato, but beautiful chips, beautiful bake. Traditional sort of Sunday roast bake. They also make a good floury mash.
Bit of everything.
Bit of everything, pretty all-purpose.
What's the best way to store potatoes?
Mate, you want to keep potatoes out of the sun. See this green spot on this Kennybeck here? It's just seen a little bit too much sun.
Yep.
It started to go green. The green part of a potato is poisonous, so you don't ever want to eat a potato that's green. Don't try and peel it off. The best thing to do with a green potato is put it in your veggie garden. And in 3 months' time, you can eat its offspring.
You're right.
OK, guys, we got some great information about our ingredients from Matt, so let's go cook.
Yeah, thank you.
Today, we've got 3 different types of potatoes, which are all very readily available. We've got the Kifler, which is a very waxy type potato. We've got the Sebago, which is a little bit sweeter. And we've got the Desiree, which is a great mashing potato, which is what we're going to use for our first dish, which is called Canon, which is a classical Irish dish. Basically, what we're trying to do is to make this mashed potato with these Desirees is you want to get as much moisture out of the potato as possible. So rock salt in your tray, you can buy this quite cheap. So we place them on the salt. And another good tip is, if you spike your potatoes, it's going to release the steam, so it's going to dry out your potato, so it's a little bit more fluffy. OK, so these potatoes we're going to put in the oven as high as it'll go, 240, 250, because you want the potato to steam inside. All right, so our potatoes have been in for just over an hour. We'll just check. No resistance there. Your potatoes come out of the oven. You want to work with them hot, because as it cools, the starch sort of locks together. And that's where you get that wallpapery paste, gluey sort of mash. So we're going to do 2 methods of mash. We've got the old school, my mum masher, and you've got the ricer. So grab 3 potatoes each. So what you're going to do is cut it in half, and you're just going to get your potatoes, scoop it out as fast as you can, yeah? And try and get as much out as well, because you don't want to waste any. What you need to do now is, you need to mash this, but you need to do it quick because it's starting to get cold. This is what the ricer gives you. When you compound it together, it's really smooth, whereas his is a little bit more chunky. Where for at home, that's fine. This was just to show you 2 different types, so we can mix it together because we're not here to waste anything. We're going to get our potato hot. So what I'm going to get you to do is spoon in the butter. Spoon in as much as it will take. You'll see it start to split, and what you do is you keep moving it around. So keep going, keep going. Like, it looks a lot of butter, but you're not going to eat the whole pan to yourself. This will do a lot of people. That was approximately 200 grams of butter. See the way it's split, it's shiny, the butter's starting to ooze out a little bit. What you're going to do is just add about 400 mils of milk, which is warm. Now you can work that. So what you want to do is just incorporate it. See the way it's getting creamier?
Yeah.
So Danny, if you want to grab this salt and pepper, just give it a little bit of salt. And the other thing about potatoes is its base. You can flavour this to 10 other dishes. So you're starting with just potato, but it takes on the other flavours. Right, so that's our mash made. Traditionally, Canon uses cabbage in Ireland because there's an abundance of cabbages and onions. Yeah. But we're just going to take it a little step further. There's beautiful Calvanero around at the moment, which is part of the same family anyway. And we're going to put it in raw, and it's going to cook in the actual steam. So mix that up. At home, you shouldn't be sweating over this dish. It's a one-pot wonder. Next, Danny, you're going to add your spring onions. And see the way it's drying out a little bit? You don't panic because you can just add a little tad more milk. You want it workable. So get your parsley in there next. Right, that's enough work you need now. Yeah. And what you're going to do then is just finish your dish, which just makes it a little bit more special, is you've got some more spring onions, some more parsley at the end. And then you're going to just enrich it a little bit more, the olive oil, and then you just serve it like that. So,
beautiful.
All right, guys, taste and tell me what you think.
Right, looks delicious.
Wow.
Yeah?
The potato's beautiful, it's so rich. The fresh herbs and spring onion on top really like sort of, you don't notice how rich and creamy it is. I could eat the whole thing.
Yeah, it sort of breaks it up and a little explosion.
The crunchiness of the onion,
yeah,
the creaminess, it's such a beautiful textural dish.
So like out of a simple potato dish, you've created a rock star dish.
Yeah,
you know what
great.
I mean? You don't have to be complicated. Just understand flavours and the ingredients you're working with, and then you can come up with a great dish.
That's fantastic.
It's gorgeous.
So hopefully you'll use it in your further competition.
I'll get a chance, yeah.
All right, guys, so today, carrying on with the potato. Our next potato is a kifler potato, which is a little bit more waxy. Not ideal for making mashed potatoes, so we're going to use a different technique, which is we're going to bake it in the oven in some stock. It's a classical dish you learn when you're a young chef. It's called a boulanger. The whole idea about this dish is we want the potato uniform slices, so we're going to use this great machine called a mandolin. Have you ever used a mandolin before?
I have, yeah.
All right, jump to it.
Michael.
What you got to do is be careful, especially anyone who hasn't used the mandolin, because these will take the tops off your finger.
Yeah.
There you go. So you go with that. So you want enough potato to fill this pot. So that's our potatoes sliced. So what we're going to do now is you're going to layer your potatoes. At the start, you don't have to be too fussy. You just want a nice base at the bottom. And sort of just a little salt and pepper on each layer. And then each layer, you're going to layer some onion. Just really finely sliced onion. This is fresh thyme. All you're going to do is just pick the thyme. Rosemary. Now what we're going to do is the Cullen Special. Just a little knob of butter in there. Then all you're going to do is keep going. Do 3 more times or till you reach the top. And then we're just going to finish it on the top. So if you want to carry on with that. You're building it up quite a lot.
Yep.
Because when it cooks, it's going to absorb the liquid, the onions are going to break down and it's going to shrink. So you want to go a little bit higher.
Do you use any other vegetable apart from potatoes?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure like you could do like sweet potatoes. Turnip's a good one. All right, so that's basically, you've gone as high as you can. Now you just want to, for presentation, sort of get potatoes that are more or less the same size. And this dish is in a small pot, but if you've got a large family, you can buy like a large pot this big. And you just multiply the recipe by 4 or 5. And you just fill your pot full of potatoes and stock, put it in, you feed the whole family.
Beautiful.
Yeah, yum.
We're going to add some chicken stock as well, nearly to the top. And what I would do is just put another little bit of herbs on top because it looks really good when they caramelise. And then, of course, just a little knob of butter because that's going to caramelise in the oven. Lid on. This goes into the oven now, around about 240 degrees, just for 20 minutes.
Yep.
Lid comes off, another 40 minutes at 120. Our boulanger has been in with the lid off. Should be nice and caramelised and just nice and gluey texture.
Oh, it looks gorgeous.
So you can see the way the potatoes has dropped down. It's absorbed all that stock, and it's got a nice shiny texture from your stock. It's got nice and caramelised. So the next thing to do now is just jump in and taste it.
Beautiful. It's brilliant.
You've got crunchy, soft textures again.
You get the herbs and the sticky stock that's cooked down makes it fantastic.
It's nice and sticky, yeah.
It is very indulgent.
The final dish is a Rösti, which is going to be using the Sebago potatoes. These have been steaming now for about 25 minutes. We're just going to check if they're cooked. So you can see they're starting to break up a little bit, getting a little bit soft on the outside. So what you're going to do is you just want your fork just to be able to go in.
Yep.
So you just feel the texture there.
So it's not fully cooked, but it's not raw.
The next stage is our potato. It's still warm, it's still hot, it's par cooked, and now we're just going to grate it. So on the large side of the grater, so it's a uniform strip. So as you can see, see the way it's
Nice and sort of gooey.
and see the way it's sticky.
Yeah.
That's because you've par cooked it. You're just drawing out the starch, but that's what you're looking for. Actually, why am I doing this? You do it. If you notice, we've left the skins on. Most of the vitamins is underneath that skin. So that's our end product. And like every other potato dish we've done today, you're working with it while it's still warm.
Yep.
So now what we're going to do is we're going to mix our ingredients together. So a little bit of egg yolk here, some sage, and a little bit of thyme. Salt and pepper. So we're just going to mix that up. So now it's time to mould it. The best way to start to get a nice even colour and to cook your Rösti is a little knob of butter. This not a lot of butter, because this is what's going to caramelise and give you a nice golden brown.
Yep.
Sometimes if you just use oil, your Rösti can go black and just that bitter taste. And what's going to start it off is just a splash of oil.
What if someone doesn't have a pan that size? Is there anything else they could use?
Well, you can use a bigger pan and you get a bigger Rösti, but this pan is designed to get this shape. You'll see it's like a nice potato cake shape.
Okay.
Now the next thing to do is just mould it while it's still warm. So you want the butter in the middle. What you want to do now is really compress that in. So you're locking all that starch together. The next stage, what we're going to do is we're going to cook it.
Lovely. How long for?
I go a low heat for about 5 minutes. Turn it over, give it another 5 minutes.
Yep.
Lovely.
Okay, so this has been cooking for 5 minutes. It should be nice and just golden brown underneath. So what we're going to do is just move it around the pan. Get that nice round. See the way it's coming off the side of the pan?
Yeah.
That's what's shaping your potato. We're just going to demold it so that you've got that nice colour.
Nice.
So that's your caramelised from your butter.
Yeah.
So what you're going to do is just add a splash more in. Finish the other side. You just press it back down. So what you can do is just get it back on your nice low heat, 5 minutes, finished. So it's been 5 minutes each side, just gentle cooking, nice caramelised colour. So it should be crisp on the outside, soft in the middle. Guys, tuck in, tell me what you think.
It's so crunchy on the outside, but really beautiful and soft inside.
So two textures.
It's fantastic.
Really flavoursome.
Best Rösti I've ever tasted.
Glad you enjoyed.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So top 3 tips we've learned today with our potatoes. Number 1, having everything ready, not running around, so just get it together nice and quick. Number 2, working with our potato while it was hot. And number 3 was picking the right potato for the right dish. So I've had a great day down here on the farm. Hopefully you've learned something about potatoes that you can take further in the competition and hopefully win a challenge on potatoes.
Definitely,
Yeah.
we learned a lot.
Yeah, we've learnt so much. It's been so great. So thank you very much for your
It was great
time.
to meet you.
Cheers, Colin. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Colin.
Thank you.
See you later.
Cheers, mate.
Next up, we're going to look back at this week's immunity challenge, where you, Jay, pitched yourself up against Colin Fasnich from 4 in hand to see whether or not you could win that immunity pin. The task was to reproduce that beautiful steak and kidney pie in the allotted time. And Jay, you lost out this time, which was a shame because your pie was good, but you did get a lot of help from Colin. And let's face it, Colin's steak and kidney pie was an absolute winner. And that steak and kidney pie got me thinking about all those classic British and especially winter stews and casseroles. And for me to take something that everybody knows and change it a little, just to put a different touch on it and come up with a new dish. So today, I'm going to be making a shepherd's pie. This version of shepherd's pie comes from my head chef, Andrew Bedos at Phoenix. And what he did was incorporate an odd ingredient into the shepherd's pie, and he popped it on the menu, and I absolutely loved it. Now, there's a couple of techniques that I think that you guys will benefit from in this dish, and one of it is really the perfect braise. How to get maximum flavour out of a really cheap cut of meat. The other technique is smoking. I'm going to be smoking some milk, which I'm incorporating into a mashed potato, just to give it a slightly different flavour. So the main difference in this dish is that rather than using a lamb mince, which is classic shepherd's pie, what we're going to do is make a really rich braise or stew using beef cheek. The reason it's so good for a braise is because of all that sinew, that connective tissue, which sounds gory, but during the braising process, that breaks down and becomes really soft and absolutely delicious. So we're going to cut this up into nice big pieces, because remember, this is going to shrink, and it's going to take a good couple of hours to actually break that down. So keep it nice and chunky. So first stage, just hot pan, good amount of oil, and then I'm going to season with a bit of salt and a bit of pepper. And then piece by piece, gently into the hot fat. Don't throw it, otherwise you get splashes. Matt, you had a question?
Does it matter if you flour the meat or don't flour the meat?
Flouring the meat is really for one reason only, and that is to transfer that singed or cooked flour into the sauce, which will thicken it, all right? I don't actually like dusting the meat with the flour all the time. What I prefer to do is get that caramelisation, sprinkle it with a little bit of flour, and then pop it back in the oven until it tinges a golden brown. So you're cooking the flour out in the same way, but what you're doing is you're maximising that caramelisation effect on the meat itself. That's the sort of level of caramelisation you want, right? It's really quite heavy, almost crispy. So because I'm removing the beef and the heat of the pan is maintaining itself, I can pop pieces in while I'm taking pieces out.
That's not cooked all the way through now. It's just pretty much caramelised on the outside and raw in the middle.
All right, George, while I'm continuing to seal this, why don't you get a pot going and caramelise the vegetables, because that's the second phase.
OK, so we've got a basic mirepoix of vegetables that's going to complement the beef cheeks. So oil goes in and onions going first, which is one onion, one whole carrot, peeled and chopped, a stick of celery, some whole garlic cloves, 3 of them, and then again, reinforcing it, as Gary said, with salt and pepper. And then we just pop the thyme and the bay leaves in. Basically, we just want to lightly caramelise these vegetables so they match with the meat, and then we're going to incorporate the two together.
Yep. So meat is sealed really well. And George, your vegetables? And then in goes the meat. And that includes all that juice as well that's going to go in. Can't forget all that flavour. So next in, we're going to deglaze with wine, and I'm going to be pretty generous with this. Just keep putting it in so you get a really good reduction of red wine. A good half a bottle. That'll take about 8 to 10 minutes just to reduce down until it becomes quite glossy, a glaze, all right? So we've burned off the alcohol and I suppose sweetened the wine so that it's not as acidic.
How many beef cheeks were in there?
About 4 beef cheeks. We're cooking for a generous 4.
Yeah.
A Gary and George kind of 4.
OK, sure.
Right? Which is what, a family of 6 or 8. Look at this, the wine's reduced and it's already starting to wash off that caramelisation. Now what we do is pour in a good quality veal stock. So there's about half a litre to 750 mils of good stock. I'm just going to go by eye. I'm not going to fill it right to the top. I don't want it smothered, OK? Back to the boil. So now for the little twist on the recipe. This is Andrew Bedos's twist, my head chef's twist on the recipe. What he does is add a little smoky flavour to the shepherd's pie by adding smoked eel. You're looking like, oh my goodness, eel and beef, but smell that.
That there's just packed full of flavour.
Smoky, it's meaty. Yeah. The thing about eel is it lends itself really well to meaty flavours. So what I've done is I've got a smoked eel, removed the skin, and I removed the flesh. You can buy it like this. So I've got some nice pieces that I'm going to finish the shepherd's pie with, and I've got some trimmings. And it's the trimmings that I'm going to put into this stew. So lid on, 160 degrees conventional oven. And that'll take about 2.5 hours. Put that to bed, come back to it later. So I think we should put this mash together, George, yeah?
Yeah, definitely.
And the difference with this mashed potato is going to be a smoky mash. Now, how do we get the smoked flavour into the mashed potato? Well, that's easy. We're going to smoke the milk. We're going to use a smoking technique that you could use in a competition for anything, whether you're smoking fish or a meat or vegetables or chocolate or any weird and wonderful thing that you want to do. So, George?
Yep.
How are we going to do that?
OK, so 2 tablespoons of long grain rice, 2 tablespoons of wood chips, some brown sugar, because what's going to happen is that sugar's going to caramelise, and when it hits the tea, which we're going to add in there, it's going to allow the tea to release its flavour onto the milk. And the next step is to place our little smoking mixture into the wok. Now, what we've got here is a wok that's been lined with foil. And the only reason we've lined it with foil is we don't want to burn the bottom of the wok. And then we just pop the lid back on and allow that to start smoking. Right, I think we're ready on the smoking.
OK, so I need about 200 mils of milk, right? Because to 6 potatoes, that's probably going to be plenty.
And that goes straight on the rack.
Ooh, look at that. So we're getting there with the shepherd's pie. The stew's in the oven, doing its thing, having a little sleep. All those flavours are mingling together. Fantastic. The milk is smoking. That'll take about 5 to 10 minutes. So then all we've got to do is combine that, make the mashed potato, a little pan grattata to go over the top, which is going to give the crunchy element to the shepherd's pie, and then we're done. So we're making the Phoenix version of shepherd's pie. We've got the smoked milk ready for the mashed potato. We've got the stew cooking away and nearly ready. So I think we should put this mash together, George, yeah?
Yeah, definitely.
Bit of a smell on that milk. Do you reckon it's nice and strong? It's
beautiful.
OK, so it's got a little sort of, there's like a little crust on the top there, which is just the milk solids that have come through. So what we've done is we've baked the potatoes on salt. 45 minutes until they're nice and soft, and then we've broken those open and we've sieved them. So we've put it in a pot, low flame, OK, whisk, and then we start adding butter. OK, and then to start incorporating it a little bit, but then I want to put in a bit of this smoky flavour, which is the milk. I can already smell that smoky milk. Now I'm going to pipe this on top of the shepherd's pie, so I don't want it too soft. I need it to retain some of its shape. And the shepherd's pie also goes back in the oven just to get that sort of golden crust on the top. And of course, if you put too much butter, what will happen is it will break. So I think that's all right, actually. There's only one final little stage, and it's a crumbly, crunchy top. I think this is essential. When I think about shepherd's pie, it's got to have that crunchy top. So I'm going to accentuate it, and I'm going to put a pan grattata, what they used to call poor man's parmesan. It's just a little crunch using breadcrumbs. And all I'm going to do, into a hot pan, which will go in the oven, is I just tear the bread up into little pieces, OK? And George, if you could just slice a clove of garlic for me, that'd be fantastic. So a little bit of torn bread, a little bit of garlic, some olive oil,
some thyme,
a little bit of salt, pepper, thyme, gorgeous.
And some lemon zest?
Tiny little bit of lemon zest, not too much, just to accentuate the flavour. And then we're going to tear in a bit of that pan cheddar, just so I end up with little crispy pieces of bacon in there. And I think that'll look pretty cool on top of our shepherd's pie. Not the sort of shepherd's pie my mum or granny would recognise, but hey, looks good. So into the oven, about 200 degrees for about 5 minutes. So let's put this thing together.
This has been in the oven for 2.5 hours?
Yep, it's looking good.
Ooh, that looks great.
So all we've got to do is just take out, there's a bay leaf or two in there, and also those thyme sprigs that you put in. And then I'm going to throw in some chopped parsley, so quite generous with the parsley. And then what I'm going to do as well is I'm just going to add in some of these nice big chunks of the eel, because I want that part of the shepherd's pie. And that's ready to go into our pie.
Yum.
So, George, what I might get you to do is to fill that piping bag with that mashed potato. There's going to be one little extra to this dish that I need to introduce now, right? And that's a piece of bone marrow. Now, I've had this degorging or soaking in salted water. One critic described this bone marrow in the centre as a way of navigating around the shepherd's pie. I like that.
So you know when you're finished?
Yeah, exactly. And then a little spoon into the bone marrow. It's all part of, I suppose, just trying to invigorate this sort of age-old classic. Little pieces of the beef, little pieces of the eel. This is a really earthy dish. So really, George, all you've got to do, just start going around in nice little pipes. I love the look of that. It's absolutely brilliant. I'm going to pop it back in the oven for 10 minutes just to draw the heat through all those ingredients and start drawing the heat through that bone marrow. Then we'll sprinkle the pan grattata on. It's good to eat.
Delicious.
Shepherd's pie starting to get that little tinge of golden brown, and the pancrettata should be spot on. So let's get them out of the oven and plate up.
Oh.
And then we just put these little crunchy bits on top, the bacon, the garlic. That's it. The Phoenix version of shepherd's pie. I need a couple of tasting volunteers. Shannon, Matt, Adam. Oh, it's balletic. Amazing. It's going to get demolished quite quickly. And that smoke flavour, how do you find that, Shannon?
It's not overpowering at all when you have everything combined in the big sort of beefy flavours, and you don't taste that sort of fishy thing that you associate with
But there's
veal.
something in there, isn't there? There's a little bit of smokiness in there. You go, what's that?
What's that coming from?
How's the bone marrow, Matt?
Amazing. Nice and salty crunch as well.
Yep.
So good.
And Adam, how do you find that eel?
It's really beautiful, mate. That smoky flavour goes all the way through it. The one thing that this dish reminds me of is a Sunday at home watching movies on a rainy day. Yeah,
So still a shepherd's pie,
Yeah.
even though it doesn't have a shepherd in it.
It's real food.
Good stuff. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
So my top tips for this adjusted version of the classic shepherd's pie. First of all, the basis of it is a braise, so the caramelisation of the meat is absolutely crucial. Number 2, reducing the wine. Remember, it's about the flavour. Burn the alcohol off in the reduction process and aim for concentrating the flavour, almost developing the sweetness out of the wine. And the third, the smoked mash. Remember to incorporate that slight smoky taint, that little bit of flavour. It doesn't need much. So my version of a new shepherd's pie, and I think you've learned some good lessons. You know, how to braise, how to combine meat and fish. Never be afraid to breathe new life into a classic dish.
Each week on MasterClass, it's important that we spend some time looking at the basics. It's quite often that we see throughout challenges, you guys get stumped on basics. So it's important that you concentrate and write everything down. To help us out this week on MasterClass, we've got a very special guest, a talented pastry chef and an entrepreneur. She's won numerous awards and has Russell Crowe himself banging on the door of her pastry shop for her desserts. Please welcome Leanne Beck from Sweet Infinity.
My food philosophy would be keeping it real. Just keep it home style. We just need fresh seasonal produce, real butter, real chocolate, in a cake, slice it up, serve with some cream, and Bob's your uncle.
Hey, Leanne, how you
Hi,
going?
George.
You good?
I'm good. I'm well. I'm very well.
I love you.
I know, because we're short together.
No, because you're shorter than me. What are you going to show us today?
All right, so today we're going to make a wow dessert to take to your next dinner party. Something that your grandmother, your mother, your auntie used to make. It's a trifle.
Trifle?
A wow dessert. A trifle.
Love trifle.
People get really uptight about desserts.
Why is that?
I don't know, maybe it's the gelatine leaves, the timing, confidence. It could be a whole range of things, but it's really simple.
Lots of technique?
3 basic techniques. Champagne jelly with raspberries, Financier, which is an almond flourless dessert, and the stewed fruits with a mascarpone cream at the end. First up, we're going to make the champagne jelly. So can you open the champagne for me?
No worries.
Cool. This is my trifle bowl, my big, big served trifle bowl.
So we're actually going to layer the trifle in this bowl here?
Yep, definitely.
Great. So talk me through it. We're making a champagne jelly here?
Yes, so first we're going to bring up the champagne to a light boil. Don't boil it, don't reduce it, because you still want to hold all its flavour. The more you reduce it, it becomes really sugary. I don't really like sweet, sweet desserts. It should be balanced. Thank you, George.
Into the pot?
Yes, please.
So how much champagne do we have here?
We have 2 bottles for this large bowl.
OK, so we've got 1.5 litres of champagne.
Yes.
Or should I say sparkling wine. And what else do we add to this?
75 grams of
Fantastic.
caster sugar. Bring it to a light boil. And then now we're going to soak our gelatine leaves in cold water. It must be cold water.
Just quickly, in terms of gelatine, what gelatine is this?
This is the gold leaf.
Gold leaf gelatine. Could you use powdered gelatine?
I don't like powdered gelatine.
Okay, fair enough.
Because I think you can taste it. I still taste the essence of it. So I prefer gelatine sheets. And they're more consistent, so you can't go wrong as long as you don't boil the gelatine.
So 16 leaves of gelatine.
leaves.
How many grams are a sheet of gelatine?
3.
So 48 grams of gelatine
That's
to be
right.
precise.
Yes.
Fantastic.
And then you just separate them like so.
Yep.
Add in your cold water just to cover.
And basically, what are we doing here?
We're softening the gelatine leaves, and you do want to separate it so it all softens at the same consistency. Okay. But you don't want to use hot water. And if it's a really hot day, a really good trick is put some cubes of ice in there so that your water doesn't get too hot.
Alana, question?
If we're wanting to make a smaller amount of the jelly, can you just divide it, or is it...
You can halve this one, yeah. But
you would just halve the amount of gelatine, or would you have to work it out again?
You just use, so use 8 sheets and 1 bottle if you're going to do a smaller trifle. But the whole idea of trifle is it's big, it's beautiful. You take it to a house, it's that wow, you know, and then people put their spoon in it, and then, you know, have a couple more Moscatos, and then you go and get back into it at 11 o'clock at night. So I would always make it big, personally. And then, you know, it's always better the next day. Trifle's always a better next day, don't you think?
Yeah, I agree.
OK, so now the champagne has come to the boil. We turn it off. We remove from the heat. Very important. And we're going to add in our gelatine.
You said remove off the heat. It's very important. Why?
Because you can't boil gelatine because it won't set.
Okay.
Try not to get any of the excess water as well. Okay, so I'm going to give that just a mix so it's all incorporated. Okay, so this is not too hot now. We can pour it into our bowl. We're going to add our raspberries into the champagne jelly. And if you can't find fresh raspberries, peaches, mulberries, apricots, you could roast some apple, dry it off and put it in if it's a winter one. Mango would be good.
Mango. Delicious.
I'm going to add all of them in because then it's really packed. Because there's nothing worse when you're serving the trifle and not everyone gets a bit of everything, a bit of raspberry, a bit of jelly, a bit of cream, a bit of sponge. Okay. Now this goes in the fridge for 3 hours to set, or preferably you could do this the day before to set overnight.
Great. What's the next step?
What every good trifle needs, a light sponge. So we're doing a Financier, which is a light almond meal cake, and this one is gluten-free. So we need 10 egg whites.
Do you want me to do that?
Yes, please.
So egg whites, egg yolks?
Yes, please.
Yep, done.
Oh, look. And note how he doesn't use his hands, he uses the eggshells. That's pretty good in my books.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Do you fancy me?
Yeah, I do actually right now. Because you don't know how many chefs you have to tell how to crack an egg properly. It's really, really important to me. It's just those little things that get me going, I suppose.
Does it turn you on?
Yeah, it does. OK. So I'm putting my almond meal and my sugar together in the one bowl. 240 grams of almond meal and 390 grams of caster sugar. And I'm adding 9 grams of salt. Salt brings out the flavour of the nuts.
Could you substitute other kinds of nuts for the almond meal, a pistachio meal or... No?
Because Financier means round almond cake. Also, the amount of natural oils that are in almonds is different from pistachios. So you can't tweak the recipe like that at all. Sure. No.
And what's the next step?
We're going to beat the egg whites.
OK. So we've got 10 egg whites in there.
Add our 10 egg whites into the beater. It's really important to have a clean bowl, otherwise your egg whites won't whip up. Keep your egg yolks. OK, we're done.
OK, Leanne, we've got stiff egg white peaks.
Yes.
What do we do next?
We're going to pour that into the bowl. We're going to fold our butter in and then our dry ingredients.
How much butter's there?
180 grams.
180 grams of melted butter.
Yep. We're going to semi-fold it in. And then we're going to add our dry ingredients all at once.
Wow. Just dump it in.
Dump it in, come on, chef. And you just fold it all in so it's all combined. But it's that fine line just between getting all the egg white combined into your ingredients so it cooks consistently and not beating all the air out of it. OK, so now we're all in.
OK.
And I'm going to pour it into my tin. Before we pour the mix in, we're just going to lightly spray it so that it doesn't stick, like this, so. And then we're going to pour the mix into the tin. There is a lot of butter in the mix, so you don't need to line it with paper. Now I'm going to put this in an oven at 160 degrees for 45 minutes.
So we're here with Leanne Beck from Sweet Infinity. making what is a beautiful rhubarb trifle with mascarpone and champagne jelly. Right, we've got two things down. The jelly's in the fridge setting, the cake's in the oven cooking. What's next for the trifle?
We're going to bake the rhubarb.
Rhubarb.
We've soaked it overnight in gin and 400 grams of caster sugar. The reason we use gin is that it takes that earthy, dirty taste out of the rhubarb.
That's a clever idea.
Yeah, because a lot of people don't like rhubarb. It's very underappreciated.
Yeah? Why is that?
I don't know, people don't know how to cook with it properly. All you do is add gin. Then I put it into my dish and then I bake it on 160 degrees for 25 minutes.
OK. Rhubarb's in the oven, cooking, 160 degrees. The jelly's set, the cake's cooked. What's next?
We're going to make our mascarpone cream topping. So we've got 650 grams of mascarpone into the bowl.
Yep.
And 600 grams of 45% double cream.
What do you mean by 45%?
Well, it's 45% fat, so it's going to help set the cream for us so it doesn't run everywhere on the plate.
So, up Gary's alley, yeah? Nice and fatty free, yeah?
Sure is. I'm going to pour the cream in with the mascarpone and we're going to whip it until it's a nice, smooth, set consistency. Now we're halfway there, so we're going to stop it. We're going to add our icing sugar, and it's 150 grams. And then we're going to start mixing it till it's a smooth consistency. Should we add in our vanilla bean?
Yeah.
We're not going to add in the pod, just the seeds. Stop that for a minute, George. Thank you. That with some sugar. Right, we're
Is that
done.
enough?
Yes, please. So it's quenellable, so it's going to sit nicely on the top of the trifle.
Here, you do that.
It's my section, really, isn't it? Actually, I need a man.
Jay, come on, mate. Yeah.
Yeah, we need a real...
This is Jay. He is a man.
Is he?
Glad to see you call on me.
You got it under control, Jay?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh!
There you go.
Yeah.
No, you give those back.
Thanks, Bella.
Leanne, this is the exciting bit. So we've got the rhubarb that's been cooked in the oven 160 degrees for 20 minutes, and it's nice and sticky and sort of gluey and yummy. We've got our set jelly that was in the fridge, our champagne jelly, our mascarpone cream. We've got some fresh raspberries and some chocolate to garnish. And the cake that's been baked in the oven.
Our Financier.
OK.
So we're going to see how it turned out. Oh, it's quite good. OK, so we're going to layer the trifle, because trifles are all about layers. So we've got champagne jelly with raspberries. Our next layer will be our Financier. And I'm actually not going to take the crust off this cake, because that's going to add a nice crunch to the trifle. I'm going to layer it in. Push it to the edge. Right.
What goes on next?
A beautiful red rhubarb. So I'm going to place the rhubarb. I start at the edge first and go round, and then I fill the middle in. So I get my nice layered lines looking.
So it's quite distinct from the outside in terms of the glass, yeah?
That's it. Right, now we're going to layer it, put it all in the middle. See how it's not overcooked, so it still keeps its shape?
The rhubarb's quite tart. So I think it's going to add this really lovely contrast to that sweet mascarpone, the refreshing jelly, and of course the sponge.
OK, done.
What are we putting on now?
Our mascarpone cream that we've just made. So I'm going to pour it all in. Never have enough cream, can you? Oh, look at that. Spike her up a bit of texture. There we go. So now next, chocolate and raspberry garnish on top to build it right up.
OK, so can we do that?
Sure. Stack it high, watch it fly. Do you know that one?
Hey.
Do you know that one?
No.
Oh, look at that. Don't you just want to dive in there, George? Look at that. OK.
Fantastic, Leanne. That is absolutely beautiful. Your interpretation of trifle. Ladies and gentlemen, big round of applause for Leanne. Who wants to taste?
I smell trifle.
Mr. Pudding.
That looks spectacular.
Right, Kate.
Yes.
Billy and Cleo. Right, guys, who wants to taste?
I'm in.
You've got to go deep and go the Financier on the bottom. Just a little bit of cream, George.
Oh, Kate.
Oh, no, that's terrible.
Can you double dip?
Yeah. You know cream's bad for you, don't you?
So good, though.
So, Billy, what do you love about this dessert?
I think it's a aired-out version of the trifle. I think it's amazing.
Cleo?
I actually love all the different textures that you're getting. So you're getting the beautiful smooth jelly and then you're getting the crispiness of the Financier. It's just really moreish and you just want to keep on going in and digging in and getting more of it.
Kate, you love making desserts.
I do.
Do you love this one?
It would have to be the best trifle I've ever had. My experience of trifle's always been really sickly sweet and custardy, whereas that's just got that perfect balance between the sweet and the acidity and, oh, yeah, I want to keep
Just
going.
keep eating,
Well, there you go.
Well, anyway,
No.
that's fine. I'll see you later.
I know, that was good.
Right, you can go back to your seats, guys. Leanne, tell us what the top tips are for your trifle.
Firstly, don't boil the gelatine. It won't set. Secondly, the rhubarb. You want it to hold its shape, so don't overcook it. And thirdly, don't over-whisk your mascarpone and your thickened cream. There's nothing worse than split cream.
Leanne, thank you for joining us here at MasterClass, sharing a little bit of your pastry wisdom. We hope to see you back. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Little trifle kisses.
Yeah, you're pudding.
I love a little...
Bye, guys. Good luck.
See you, Leanne. Well, another masterclass drawing to an end, and you've learnt some fabulous stuff today. But before we go, I think you should come forward, grab some food, and we'll raise a glass to another fantastic day. What a massive week it's been for you guys. If you've still got smiles on your faces, that tells us you're serious, because let me tell you, those big days are what this dream that you're chasing is all about. Hospitality, the restaurant business, feeding people and making them happy. Here's to happy customers. Cheers, guys.